All right, welcome back. This is it, the final explainer in our series on breaking free from codependency. And today we're covering what is, without a doubt, the most courageous step of all, creating and actually executing the plan to break free. You've done the hard work of understanding the problem. Now it's time to take action.
So here's what we're going to cover. We'll start by setting the stage for this huge moment. Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty with an actionable 3D escape plan. From there, we'll get you ready for the resistance you're probably going to face. Then we'll reframe this whole struggle with a really powerful analogy, and we'll end on the final, life-changing choice that, really, only you can make.
So you've followed this whole series, you've done the self-assessment, and you've probably come to the very difficult but very necessary conclusion that this relationship is toxic. You've got the knowledge, you get the dynamics.
Well, this is that moment. This is where all that knowledge has to turn into action. It's kind of the point of no return, where you go from just understanding the problem to actively and deliberately solving it. This is the part where you start to reclaim your life.
But how do you actually do it? Well, the source material gives us this really powerful 3-step framework for disconnecting. I want you to think of it as your personal blueprint for freedom.
These 3 actions, detach, decouple, and depart, they are your path. They're how you deliberately and strategically disconnect from this thing. Each step builds on the one before it, severing the ties that keep you stuck in that unhealthy dynamic.
Okay, so the first and honestly most practical step is to start reclaiming your independence. And you do that by stopping the flow of shared resources. We're talking about cutting the physical and the financial cords that create all this dependency in the first place. Now, what's so powerful about this is how it gives these crystal clear but opposite instructions for both roles, right? If you're the toxic giver, your job is to stop providing, full stop. If you're the toxic receiver, your job is to stop accepting and to find your own support. It's all about taking this radical responsibility for yourself, no matter which role you've been playing.
And this applies to literally everything that connects you. We're talking joint bank accounts, shared streaming passwords, even the habit of watching a certain show together. For every single one of those ties, the action you need to take is exactly the same.
And there it is. That says it all, doesn't it? You just have to stop. Stop participating. Stop enabling. Stop relying on it. This isn't a negotiation. It's not a maybe later thing. It is a full stop. It's the only way you're going to break the cycle.
But you need to be prepared. Your decision to disconnect, it's probably not going to be met with a friendly handshake. You're disrupting the entire codependent system, and the other person is almost certainly going to resist, because that whole dynamic, it depends on you playing your part.
The source lays out a bunch of these manipulative strategies your partner might use to try and pull you back in. Things like emotional blackmail, financial threats, they might even weaponize your love, your money, or your children. The key is recognizing these tactics for what they are. Just desperate attempts to maintain control. That's your first line of defense. I mean, this is a classic textbook example of emotional blackmail, usually from a toxic receiver. It is designed, specifically, to manipulate you with guilt and fear, making you feel responsible for their actions. Your only job in that moment is to remember that you are not responsible for another adult's choices. Period. And then there's this one, which is so sneaky. Just as you're about to walk out the door, they might suddenly turn into the perfect partner you always wanted, showering you with all the affection you've been craving. You gotta see this for what it is. It's not a genuine change of heart. It's a calculated strategy to get you hooked again.
So this all brings up a really important question. Why does leaving feel so impossibly hard? Like, why does it feel like you're fighting against your own survival instincts? To get that, we need to reframe what codependency actually is.
Now, this is a bold statement from the source, but it's an incredibly powerful one. And it fundamentally changes how we look at this whole struggle. See, a codependent relationship isn't just a bad habit. It functions exactly like an addiction.
I mean, look at this. When you put the definitions side by side, the parallels are they're undeniable. Both of them involve this unhealthy reliance on something external to manage internal pain. Both lead to a total loss of control, and both have absolutely devastating consequences. You are, for all intents and purposes, detoxing.
And what's really fascinating is that the process of creating an addiction, it follows a specific formula. And this formula can be applied to way more than just chemical substances.
Let's just use a familiar example, okay? Sugar. You take sugar cane, which is just a natural plant,
You isolate its sweet juice, and then you concentrate it down into these potent white crystals. And boom, you've just created refined sugar, a substance that hijacks our brain's reward system way more intensely than that original plant ever could.
Now watch this. Let's apply that exact same logic to a relationship. The exact same process turns a healthy connection into an addictive drug. You take a relationship that should be just one part of a bigger support network. You isolate it from friends and family. Then you concentrate all of your emotional energy, your validation, your entire purpose onto that one single person. What's the result? An intense, addictive bond that creates cravings and withdrawal, just like any other drug.
Okay, so now you get it. You see the mechanics of the trap, and you understand the real nature of this addiction. You have the map, and you can actually see the bars of the cage. And all of that brings us to the final and very personal choice.
The source material could not be clearer about this. It leaves absolutely no room for doubt. Yeah, leaving is scary. It's uncertain. I get it. But staying? Staying is a guaranteed loss. Staying in a codependent relationship? It's not a gamble. It is a certainty. You will keep losing the most precious things you have: your sense of who you are, your dignity, your sanity, and your time, which, let's be honest, is your life.
You have the knowledge now. You have the plan. The power to change your life is, and it always has been, right there in your hands. The door is unlocked. The final step, that's yours to take.